I was shocked and saddened last time I was here, but you won't believe what took place since then. Continue watching to learn more.
Also new tonight, the Department of Environmental Protection says Pennsylvania American Water violated state regulations, leading to...
6 months ago, I was here to witness the deconstruction of 1800s hand-built structures here at the Dunmore No. 7 Dam Reservoir. It was truly a shocking and saddening sight to see these buildings be no more, as they were really iconic to the area and many people were familiar with them. Myself and many others, though, were under the impression that this dam was decommissioned and that was the reason for them tearing down the buildings. Well, shortly after my video came out, it was publicly announced that this is part of a multi-million-dollar project to rehab the infrastructure of a handful of dams in the area, including this one. On my last visit here, I said I would return for an update, and I'm glad I waited until now because something took place here that resulted in this project undergoing a criminal investigation. So today, I'm going to show you what this site looks like since my last visit, because as you can tell, things look a little bit different. And I'm also going to fill you in on the details of the investigation that took place here. So if you're ready, just come along with me. I'm going to use my noise reduction feature on my microphone because it's really loud there with the flowing water. But let's take a look at the site from when we were last here to see how it looks today. Looks like they're not working today. No activity, no vehicles, no men. But there are some changes. Right off the bat, the building that was once there is still in piles of rubble. One lone building up there, the door's open on it, and all the smaller buildings that were on site are also gone. So there's just one building remaining, and there's a type of shed down there which may or may not be new or not, I'm not sure. But we got a black pipe there coming out of the ground for discharge, I believe. Some more rubble here in front of the spillway. And even looking in the waters, some objects down there look like they're yellow, maybe railings or something. As you look across the other side, the landscape was altered a bit. You can see where they have planted some grass, and there's like a stone ramp they may have used to get access down into the reservoir area. But the biggest change, though, is this. The reservoir is full. This came to a surprise when I arrived here, because last time we were here, it was pretty empty. There was just a little stream of water coming through that was actually coming out through the discharge pipe, and we were able to see all the buildup of sediment. And I was actually able to walk and ride my e-bike back there on those islands. So this is, for the most part, how it normally looks right now, full of water. Now I don't know, though, if they removed the sediment, if it's been dredged out. Now if I look down here, I can see into the water, a few feet, it's gradually sloping in. But that doesn't really tell me much about how it is back there. But I'm surprised to see it full, though. See a lot of sticks and debris built up on the top here. I think they did some work too to the wall there, possibly. We have a large dumpster down there. There's actually a multitude of drainage pipes, at least 2 or 3 that I see. And that black one is definitely added since we were last here. Looks like it's going underground towards the wall over there. It's still hard for me to believe that that castle-like structure that was once there is never going to be there again. Although it's just part of the reservoir, you don't see buildings like that nowadays. And when my first video came out, there's a lot of people saying they could have saved it, they could have turned it into something, they could have repurposed it, they could have just updated it and use it for its intended purpose, but that wasn't their plans, I guess. It was just to demolish it, take away 1800s construction, except for that one little tiny building that's up there, right there, I believe. But that's how it goes. Nothing lasts forever, and change is inevitable. Now, before I fill you in on the details of the investigation that took place here with this project, let's get a better look at this place from the sky. All right, we're in the air. Since it's not working today, we'll check out the work site. Surprised there's still some rubble there from 6 months ago. That is the location of that big castle-like structure. Like maybe they were separating some more valuable pieces of stone. Now, there was multiple buildings on site, a bunch of smaller ones, and looks like there's only one existing today. Door's open on it. I'm not going to attempt to fly inside because if I crash, I have no way to get it. I don't know what that big thing is there in front of it. It's like an anchor point or something. Or a hatch. What do you think's inside? Any guesses? I would assume some more valve controls, but that's what the main building was for opening and closing the discharge pipes. That building on the left there, not sure if that's always been there. I think it has. I don't know that purpose either, but yeah, in the distance you can see the office trailers. Now there's a site I wasn't sure I was ever going to see again. A pretty full reservoir and water cascading over the spillway. We'll take a flight out to the back of it. This is how myself and most people do remember seeing it before this whole project started. There is an island or two out here that I believe at certain times you can't access it by crossing like a small stream or something on a UTV or a 4x4. It looks like quite a bit of water today though. Yeah, so I'm going to stop here and show you this island area and parts that are now submerged is where we were last time. I was out there walking around, riding my e-bike, showing you the landscape. You can see it's not too deep. You can see the ground there. And I was talking about those big rocks before. So from this perspective, it looks like maybe they have not dredged it out. It's still full of sediment. So that has not been completed yet as far as dredging. See the water forks around another island here. Some beached areas. As we go back towards the spillway, all you can see is just a dam wall and one little building. Stark contrast from how it used to look. You can see those items in the water from here. Looks like maybe railings. That area there, I believe, was the overflow spillway, so that when water got too high, it came over there and spilled around that bend. I believe that's what that was. Now, the one thing I want you to pay attention to is, you see down the wall there, which is going to be right in the center of the screen, there's a pipe coming out. That one and possibly this black one do have a part to play in the events that took place that caused a criminal investigation to take place. I'm going to talk more about that once we do land. Here's a view looking straight down the spillway there. Water is cascading over those steps. Now, something I'm seeing from the shoreline here, and I want to investigate it with the drone. There may or may not be a camera on the wall over here. I noticed something that I don't remember seeing before, and it might be a camera to monitor the site. You see that? Look like a camera there, with the kind that can swivel around. I think it could be. I'll look at over here too. Now we know where that black pipe is going. That's hooked up to something that's going underneath the dam wall there. And I'm guessing that's maybe controlling the water flow. Those of you watching happen to know what that piece of equipment is, share it in the comments. Yeah, there's a stack of railings next to those steps. That's what's laying in the water down there. I'm sure a ton of work has been done in the last 6 months, but obviously I'm not an engineer or an architect or anything like that to know about what has to take place to undertake this project to bring up to standards, but it doesn't look like a whole lot of work was done. I mean, it looks like some earth was moved, some rubble was piled up, but I was expecting to see a bit more progress, but I guess it's slow moving. Let's talk about what happened since my last visit here 6 months ago. It's now May 2024, and after my visit, as I explained earlier, it was publicly announced that this was a multi-million-dollar project with this dam and a few others in the area that are being basically brought up to modern standards to ensure longevity. But within the time I was here and a short while after that time, something happened that resulted in this project undergoing a criminal investigation. Now, this undertaking of the investigation was heavily covered by the media. It was in the newspapers, news articles, news stations, YouTube. It was covered really heavily by the media. And the information I'm going to share with you is basically a summary of what was covered. I'm going to kind of go in steps to bring you up to speed as to how it started and where it's at today. I'm not great at storytelling, so just bear with me. So when we were here last time, obviously this was empty. We saw the tons and tons of sediment that was in this reservoir. Sediment that normally shouldn't be there, not that much of it. It's supposed to get dredged out every so often to allow more water to accumulate in the reservoir and to also alleviate pressure off the spillway wall. So we knew there was tons of sediment in the reservoir part. And when we were here, there's water discharging out of one of those drainage pipes down there I showed you when we were flying around. There's at least 3 pipes down there that are permanent. The black one is added since our last visit. So there's 4 pipes total. At some point, people who live downstream from here, or down creek, whatever you want to call it, down river, started noticing discoloration in the water. It was a really milky, murky, brown, muddy color. And it was lasting for days. It started raising eyebrows and concerns. What's happening? Where's this coming from? Now, normally, if there's heavy rainfall or a really bad storm, it's not uncommon to see muddy, murky water flowing down from debris that gets stirred up and brought in from rainfall. That's normal. This was ongoing for a few days with no rainfall at the present time. So something stood out that something's wrong, something's going on. So the public first noticed that, and someone in the public alerted officials that, hey, you may want to take a look at the water. It doesn't look right. They were able to trace the muddy conditions coming from here. What happened apparently is that they had the valves open, draining the water out of the reservoir. Although it's mostly drained already, they were trying to get the rest of the water down to probably do some more work on the spillway, I'm imagining. Well, in doing so, the sediment that we saw here was breaking off. And during the time when they were opening those valves, we did receive some heavy rains. So the heavy rains loosened up that sediment, and the sediment was able to flow through the multiple chamber pipes going downstream, and it ended up severely polluting the water. Now, at first thought, at least to me, of like, it's just muddy water, you know, it'll clear up, no big deal. But when you think of tons of debris coming down, going down a multiple miles downstream, it's gonna take a long time to clear up, which means that stuff's gonna settle, which, you know, the water may be this deep, it's now getting this deep. The water may have been flowing one direction, and the buildup of sediment is causing it to flow a different way, causing erosion. On top of that, it was so bad that they actually had to cancel the release of trout downstream because the water conditions were not healthy. So what happened is officials became aware of it, found out it was coming from here, and it ended up catching the attention of DEP, Department of Environmental Protection. They started an investigation finding out what happened. So in theory, I guess what was supposed to happen is that when they had those discharge pipes open, they were supposed to have like a barrier or a catch wall or something downstream here catching the sediment if it was to come through. I don't know if they had one, or if they did, it failed. Also, I don't think they were prepared for the amount of sediment that was going to come through, because there was a lot of it here. And it was just bad timing. We got heavy rains, multiple pipes open, so the sediment broke off, came through, and just went downstream and really wreaked havoc on the aquatic wildlife and the stream beds. So what ended up happening is that they had to halt the work. I don't know if that's a coincidence today if they're not working. I don't want to say for sure, but they had to halt the work progress and basically had to stop what was happening because it was harming the environment. And they said that going forth, the Pennsylvania American Water Company, who is responsible for this project, has to work hand in hand with DEP to ensure that all the standards and protocols are being met for the remainder of the work on this project. So it's kind of crazy that, you know, we came here 6 months ago thinking, oh no, they decommissioned the reservoir. It's just going to be going back to natural land, which is not a bad thing. I was more upset about the deconstruction of the buildings. We come to learn that this is actually a project to make sure this stays here for decades to come. But then, that this work project went under the microscope of an investigation to find out why what happened. So it's a kind of a crazy turn of events that came about in a relatively short amount of time. And the funny thing, kind of funny, is that I was actually going to return much sooner to come here to do another update. I was going to come back in just maybe a month or two to show, hey, here's an update, here's the progress. But when I saw that the media was covering this and the stuff was happening, I wanted to kind of let it settle down for a bit, calm things down before I returned here. So I came at the right amount of time, the perfect time, I guess you could say, because we're not working today. We got perfect weather, and we learned a lot about this project.
Department of Environmental Protection says Pennsylvania American Water violated state regulations, leading to low, smelly water at a creek in Lackawanna County. According to the DEP, sediment flowed into Roaring Brook in Scranton and Dunmore as a result of construction at a dam in Dunmore Reservoir number 7. The state says PA American was in violation of several regulations regarding sediment control and water pollution. The water company says work on the dam project will continue to move forward with input from DEP.
But right now, I think we should hop back on the bike, head up the reservoir, if you want to call it that, and see if we can get down close to the water, see what it looks like further back. Well, I had good intentions of coming down here and showing you where the water is flowing in, but we can't do that. Right there, posted. Back there, posted, posted, posted. This whole area is now posted. Wasn't posted last time. When I was here, there was no signs at all. Perfectly fine to come down here and do what we did. And now they don't want people coming down here for one reason or another. I basically want to respect these signs because this project, as we learned, is kind of under a microscope right now. And I don't want to, by any means, do anything that's going to cause negative attention. So my first video here did go viral. It got a couple 100,000 views. And I don't know how this video is going to do. So I just want to be respectful, stay behind the boundary lines. Where we were earlier was perfectly fine. Flying the drone, no problem. But yeah, I guess we got to see it from the air at least, but we're not gonna be able to get down close to it like I wanted to. That's okay though, things happen. You know, it's better to play it safe than to say, oh, shouldn't have done that later. But anyways, I wanna thank you for coming along for this 6-month update of the Dunmore No. 7 Reservoir. A lot has taken place as far as circumstances, but as far as progress goes, not a whole lot, in my opinion, but time will tell how it's going to transform over the period of time. I will come back in another number of months to give another update to see what has changed from now. And if we do learn anything else in the meantime, obviously it will be shared in that video. Otherwise, thanks for your support. Thanks for hanging out. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.